the new kid on the block, direct EB-5. As a practice, Nysa has worked with direct EB-5 way before now. We worked with clients, structured their programs and their projects or investments into direct EB-5 investments. They've been approved. Things are working smoothly. But it is a science. Today, we see a lot of project investments being sold as direct EB-5s. Some of these are opportunities that make absolutely no sense for EB-5, and especially for direct EB-5. And let us tell you why. What does direct EB-5 require? Direct EB-5 requires that, and I'm going to use paraphrase from RFEs and Noids that we have seen, where we've been approached by clients who've done direct EB-5 and we're now helping them because they've received RFEs and Noids because of the way their documentation, etc., was done insufficiently at the time. USCIS says that it's not just about conceiving a business. The business at conception has to also make sense. So it just doesn't mean that you can come up with a business idea, put in money into it and say, oh, I'm trying to do this, and USCIS say, oh, that's great, we'll give you a green card. It doesn't work like that. USCIS actually reviews the viability and actual business sense for a direct EB-5 project, which is much harder for you to do than in a regional center project per se, because you're coming up with a large project somewhere, etc., etc. So not only must you come up with a business concept, the business concept actually has to be proven as a viable business concept. Most direct EB-5 investors don't realize this and just think that anything they can come up with will get approved. It doesn't work like that. Direct EB-5 requires you to create and sustain 10 full-time jobs. Sounds easy? It's not. Because the jobs actually have to be in place during your conditional residency period. In other words, you might file an application today, you get approved in 2 years, you get a green card in 3 years. You have 21 months after your conditional green card to file your I-829 application. The jobs that matter are the ones in place at that time. So when you look at a direct EB-5 project, it's not about something that has employees today or in the next 6 months. The business better have employees at least budgeted in properly for the next 5 to 7 years, because that is how long you'll have to be in that investment for this to still work for your EB-5 qualification. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that please be in businesses that are long-term businesses, not short-term businesses. We see out there projects that are being showcased that are fintech investments or startup companies, which by definition, there is no shelf life for these businesses. They might be great, they might be not, they might become the next Google, or they might become the next Google. For EB-5, you cannot be in an Google. The third big difference is that the direct EB-5 has to be of a size that creates those 10 jobs, right? So the challenge that comes in with EB-5 projects for direct investments is that if your equity is $500,000, okay, and you can only do 1 or 2 EB-5s, how do you do a business which is actually large enough to create 10 full-time employees? When you talk about full-time employees, please understand this is a payroll which is going to cost somewhere between $300,000 to $500,000 per annum, okay, because this is above minimum wage, actual full-time payroll employees. So, and if you just do a simple calculation, then an average salary is $40,000, this is $480,000, okay. So the business has to be a type that actually creates and sustains and affords such workers with a $500,000 equity and let's say some leverage from a bank, etc., which typically a foreign investor will not get in the US. How do you come up with a business that makes sense and does work for EB-5? Well, get in touch with us. We have businesses that are qualified for direct EB-5 because we have our ability to bring in domestic US debt, domestic US equity, and part of our capital structure requires EB-5. We're supplementing our equity requirement with EB-5. Our projects are large enough to create the jobs, but small enough to be manageable and doable. Get in touch with us to learn more about direct EB-5.